Ronnie, Pennsylvania, you're on the Wilkow Majority. Hello.
Yeah, hello. My question is, what is the answer on health care? Why not make everybody buy health care? Poor people's going to get health care anyway. Why not have them to pay something than them not paying anything?
Wait, who do you want to pay for it? The poor people to pay for some part of it, or just to force everybody in so there's more money in the system?
Well, I want to force everybody to get health care, because if you don't get health care, let's say if you got an 18-year-old kid that don't buy health care and he needs a heart transplant, I'm going to pay for it anyway. So why not?
But where does the federal government get the authority to force people to buy something?
Because we're going to pay for it anyway. It's the
That might make sense in your argument, but tell me where the federal government has the authority under the United States Constitution to compel private citizens to purchase a product.
Well, tell me why the federal government forced these hospitals to serve these people if they sick, if they come to the emergency room. They forced them to give them treatment.
Again, though, it's one thing to say to a hospital, you can't turn away people regardless of their ability to pay, and there's Medicaid for that anyway. It's another thing to say to someone who doesn't want Medicaid, who doesn't want to be on a government program, to force them onto a government program.
So what is the answer? Could you tell me what's the answer? I listen to you. What is the answer to get for the health care? Tell me what's the answer, please.
Well, as far as federal power, the answer is not allowing the federal government to overstep its authority and force consumers to buy health care. And I'll tell you why. Because it won't stop there. The federal government will start dictating your purchases. What?
So your answer is don't do anything. Let the deficit, just let it keep going up. Don't do anything.
Well, okay, for one, the answer is an answer you're not going to like. So the answer is not wealth redistribution. It is forcing people to observe their behavior and lifestyles. If somebody says, I have no health insurance and I'm on welfare, and they go out and get somebody pregnant, they're creating need. You want to talk this fantasy that Obama and progressives believe in personal responsibility is just that. There is no personal responsibility. What responsibility are you taking if you can't afford to have children and you do? What responsibility are you taking if you smoke cigarettes where it says right on the pack, this might kill you? What responsibility are you taking if you consume above and beyond the healthy doses of alcohol and you can't go to work anymore? How is if by forcing other people to take responsibility for you, how are you taking responsibility for yourself, sir?
Okay, how about someone have a retarded kid or something like that, a kid with brain damage or something
Sir,
like that?
do you realize how many charitable entities there are out there that do a way better job of serving the needs of children with birth defects and mental disabilities than the federal government could ever hope to even conceive?
Yeah, but how much money do the federal government pay?
Okay, let me turn this around. How much of our liberty as American citizens do we lose to that?
To people paying.
How much of our liberty do we offer the federal government?
That's nothing. Everybody pays something. If you don't have health insurance.
Okay, now we're back to this thing. You tell me under the United States Constitution where the federal government has this authority, sir.
They don't. So
you're right. That's the answer. They don't. They don't. The answer is to allow the states to have their own configurations and their own programs, to allow charitable interests and charitable entities to do more, regardless of religious affiliation. The federal government doesn't have to give the faith-based organizations money. They'll raise it on their own, and they'll spend it wisely, unlike the federal government. See, this is the problem. People see a problem and say, well, if you don't, it goes right back. This has been going on since 1851. Let me see if I can find this quote real quick from Bastiat. And yes, I've been pushing Bastiat a lot lately. Because so much of the reason why I look at Bastiat and Marx is because these arguments have been going on since the 1840s and the 1850s, and nothing about it has changed. Where's this argument that he who refuses to allow... Oh, here we go. I found it. You ready for this? Socialism, like the old policy from which it emanates, confounds government and society. And so every time we object to a thing being done by government, it concludes we object to it being done at all. We disapprove of education by the state, then we are against education altogether. We object to a state religion, then we would have no religion at all. We object to an equality which is brought about the state, then we're against equality. They might as well accuse us of wishing men not to eat because we object to the cultivation of corn by the state. I'm not reading from Bastiat to impress you that I have it in my hand. I read to you from Bastiat because the exact same arguments have been had for well over 150, 160, 170 years. The fantasy is, if you don't want the government running the healthcare system, it's because you don't want people having healthcare. In other words, if you don't want the government doing something, it's because I, the supporter of the government doing it, can't envision anybody doing anything but government. And I accuse you of malfeasance for that. This has been going on since 1848. Nothing is new about these arguments. The people who take the Marxist line will stand there and say, if you don't want the government to do it, well, then you don't want it done. And Bastiat called them out on a scant 3 years later. This is before the internet, by the way. So the answer is, if you don't want the federal government doing it, it's because you don't want it done. Here's the problem. Let me turn this back on you. When the federal government does it, you get one idea. When the states do it, you get 50 ideas that compete to be the best idea to then be emulated by the other 49 states. You know what's even crazier? When you let counties do things, you get thousands of ideas. More ideas, the merrier. Rather than saying, here's the one idea, that's it. Here's the one idea. Federal government does it. No left, no right, no up, no down. Here it is.